Hello, it's Catherine, and welcome back to Taking Tea with Catherine. This is a nice, but not amazingly nice, detox herbal tea, which I need right now. I need something kind of healthy. I eat a lot of things that I probably shouldn't eat, and it's good to get the toxins out of one's system. I don't know if it works. It has one of its strongest ingredients is fennel, which I'm not big on in tea, but there's other things like, I don't know, birch and dandelion and ginger, whatever. If it helps, it helps. It's good to stay healthy. And it doesn't have to taste amazing as long as it tastes okay when it comes to healthy things, right? Well, speaking of health, sometimes in order to keep one's bookshelves and mental state healthy, one needs to do a purge with their belongings. And I am ready to do another unhaul. And this is still not a very big unhaul. I always keep it kind of mild. But I think, you know what? I did one for, I think, my first booktube video, and it's been about 3 months. So maybe if I do an unhaul every 3 months, that would be good. Or 2 months if I'm going to keep really healthy. But we'll see. And again, I'm going to say, most of the time I do this not to talk badly about books. If I'm getting rid of things, sometimes it's things that I didn't enjoy or just isn't for me. But it doesn't mean that they're bad books per se. They're just not for me. It's like when you get rid of anything, it doesn't mean it's garbage. And I'm not going to throw it in the garbage anyway. I'm going to either take it to the Strand bookstore, which I did last time. I didn't get a lot. I got store credit. Didn't get a lot, but it was something. I found out there's those little free libraries not far from me, but it's not somewhere I pass by every day, but I could make an effort. And there's a few other places that take books, so we'll see. But mainly I just need to get them out of the apartment and into somebody else's hands. So let's get started with the books that I shall unhaul shortly. The first one, in my first unhaul, I got rid of 2 Alexander McCall Smith books. Again, I don't dislike them. Most of them I can't keep because they're just such a long series, each one of them. And this particular series I didn't really stay in. And I remember thinking when I got rid of the 2 in the series, I said, I thought I had a third one. I thought I had a paperback. And I couldn't find it. And then I found it. So I was like, well, I knew if I waited long enough, it would come out of nowhere. And I don't know, it's a little bit folded in one spot. It's really actually a nice picture. But it is morality. I was going to say mortality. Morality for beautiful girls. And it's one of the #1 ladies detective agency. Good series, by the way. Even though I didn't keep on with it, it's still a good series. I know that, and I know the people who are still enjoying it. So maybe they'll find this and say, "Yay, free book or cheap book or wherever they find it." Cool. I just realized it said the Miss Marple of Botswana. Now that I'm reading, I'm reading Poirot right now, so I'm not gonna feel too bad either way. And you know what? Everybody's the this of that, so the Venice of this and the Sherlock Holmes of that and the whatever. So anyway, that's #1. The second book, now, again, it's kind of a fun book. It's just I got it one time and I just doesn't fit me. This is the Bombshell Manual of Style by, getting it right, Lauren Stover. And I actually like this writer. She wrote another book called The Bohemian Manifesto, which I got a while back, and she's got a new edition that's been slightly updated. And I think I know why it was updated, but and I would love to see the new version of it, but I don't want to spend all the money right now. But you never know, I might get it anyway. So I need to make room for it. And this book isn't bad. She writes slightly tongue-in-cheek, and it's great. It's got a lot of lovely pictures. Well, but the one thing, look, high heels, and which is a great picture, but I don't wear heels if I can help it. Period. So already you could tell it's not for me. Everything I see here, little hints of things to wear, going out in the evening, whatever, it just doesn't fit my lifestyle. And it's not even enough where I could say, okay, it doesn't fit my lifestyle, but it's fun to read. I mean, you could read adventure books and you could read detective fiction. I'm not a detective. And you could read all kinds of things that you don't quite relate to, but you still enjoy. And I don't hate it, but I feel like I'm never reaching for it. And whenever I do find it and look through, I say, I don't see the point in this. And I think that it's a good book. So I think that I have to put it back out in the wild for someone else to discover and appreciate. Now, I have a couple of places where I get advanced reviewer copies of books. I don't get too many of them, but one of the websites I've been on for a very long time, before Goodreads, and I'm still on it, and actually I've used it more to catalog my book collection than anything else. You know, sometimes the original is your favorite, even if you have other resources. So I'm talking about Library Thing, and which is still a really great website for book lovers. It really is. So do not discount it. And they were the first to start sending me, they call it early reviewer copies, and I've gotten quite a few really good ones and some bad ones, some ones. But I have 2 books here that I got that were definitely not for me. And this first one, and I don't know what possessed me to request this one, Letters to Kurt from Eric Erlandson. It's just like almost like essays written by this guy as if he's writing to Kurt Cobain. Maybe at some point in my life that seemed appealing. Although even, I will admit, I like Nirvana. I like, all that. I'm a Gen Xer. But it, not enough to merit this whatsoever. And I don't know. I remember reading it, and I had to come up with a review for it. And I was just like, why am I reading this? This is just so not for me. No, thank you. So, you know what? Good. Somebody else can have it. And speaking of non-relatable, now, I like music. I don't mind opera, even though I've never been to a proper opera, and I live not far. Well, when I say not far, subway ride away from Lincoln Center. I have never been inside of Lincoln Center to see an opera. I have seen some of their free screenings on beautiful days, and they had La Boheme at one point. It was great. I think something else I saw at one point. I've seen operas. I've heard plenty of music. You can't grow up in life without hearing opera music, I think, and knowing some of it. I like the, what's it called? The Magic Flute. I don't know how to say it in German. Forgive me. But, and this book actually talks about that a little bit from what I read in it a little bit. But this is a music writer, Joseph Kerman, the New York Review Collection, Opera and the Morbidity of Music. I think you have to really be into this kind of life, this type of writing, to go for this. And I remember I was reading this. This is really early on in my early reviewer time period. And I said, why am I doing this to myself? This is painful. And then I felt bad because recently I saw that this man died. And I don't know. I shouldn't care. I mean, not that I want anyone to die, but you know what I mean? I shouldn't feel guilty just because I didn't appreciate his book, but it made me realize that I'm holding on to things that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I could get this sold in a bookshop because, again, it's an advanced reviewer copy, uncorrected, etc. But it's just the writing just didn't appeal to me. It's essays also, and I like essays. I mean, I really like George Orwell, and I'm surprised I don't have copies of his essay collections. I should really get a hold of that because I have checked them out of the library before, and I love George Orwell, and I like other essayists as well. But this is just on a subject. It's not happening. It's not happening for me. I don't hate opera, but I am not a massive enough fan to understand the deepness of this. Bye. Now, here's one of those moments where, do you ever talk to people and they have a certain hobby or they're talking about something and you say, oh, I should learn that particular hobby. And if you're like me, you immediately get a book about said hobby. Now, I have thought about things like knitting because I honestly think that is a useful hobby. Anyone who lives in a climate that gets cold could use knitting. I mean, even if I never progressed to a sweater, what about a tea cozy? I mean, that'd be wonderful if I could do something like that. But I haven't gotten there yet. And thankfully I haven't bought any books on it yet because that would be ridiculous. There's certain things that honestly I don't need to waste my money on books about. I had gotten a lot of scrapbooking books at one point and I haven't purged myself of them yet. I might end up culling that collection. There's not too many of them. But this particular project is never going to happen. 300 handcrafted soaps. It's very nice, Miss Marie Browning. I think it's wonderful that people do this. I think it's a lovely hobby. I love soap. How could you not love soap? I love being clean. I like these pictures. They're so pretty. The molds. It's like baking, but not. You know, the scents. I don't like heavy perfume, but this is beautiful. I should really, but I shouldn't, because I bought this book. I don't know when this was printed, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, this says 2002. I don't think I got it brand new. But I think it wasn't that far off. I think it was at least a decade ago that I got this book. If I was going to make soap, I would have made soap by now. I would have gotten the mold. I would have gotten the materials. I could order them online. It's much easier now to do that. And I haven't. I barely even go to Lush anymore. And I love Lush, by the way. That's one of my things I was fanatic about at some point. Maybe I thought I could replicate some of the effects of Lush, but it's not happening. Maybe I should just go back to Lush and treat myself one day. Or just buy regular old soap that I like that is not irritating. So somebody else might get into soap making, and congratulations. One thing about soap making is you never talk about soap making. And if you do, don't talk about it to me, because I'm probably going to buy a book about it like an idiot. Anyway. So here's another thing that was a fad in, I think way over a decade ago, because I remember referring to it over like 15 years ago. Oh my goodness. Do you guys remember the book, French Women Don't Get Fat? Yeah, I think I have that book, and I can't seem to find it, and I want to purge it, but I can't find it. But you know what? I found Morality for Beautiful Girls, so French Women Don't Get Fat, I will find you. And I will get rid of you. But anyway, there was a sequel, and without reading the first one, I bought it, French Women for All Seasons. So it was just like I said, it was a fad that everybody was getting into these, like, being French and other, and learning from other cultures. By the way, it's great to learn from other cultures. It is wonderful to find tips from other places. The way they do things, because no one really has it 100% right. Some things people do in their life is great in one place, and the way they do it in another place is not as good, or not as beneficial, I should say. It's not necessarily bad. So we can learn from pretty much every culture on this planet. And I know I could learn a lot from French women. I remember one of the things that when I went through the book that it mentioned was walking. And I do that anyway, so that's great. And, I thought these were great because they have these recipes. And that's good, but, I already have like 100 cookbooks that I don't use. So I'm not going to read this. And another thing is, you really can't tell from this because it's very faded, but I bought this. You see, this is why I don't feel so bad. I bought this at a library book sale. We used to have the New York Public Library, the Mid-Manhattan branch, which is one of the biggest ones. It's right near the big library in Midtown with the lions. They used to have, like about 10 years ago, they used to have these wonderful library sales. Hardcovers were like usually about $2 or $1, and then softcovers were $1 or 50 cents. Probably $1 because, it's Manhattan. But I used to find, and I still have in the vast collection, some of these old books you see around here were from there. And some of them are quite valuable to me, and some of them were pretty old and almost, I think, undervalued there. So I bought this at one of those sales. So I don't feel bad that I didn't buy it full price, so I don't feel like I wasted anything like I might have done with some of these other books. But I remember they used to use for shopping bags, and nowadays I probably wouldn't even ask for shopping bags. I usually carry a backpack, but I guess I didn't then. And they would just grab, I guess, used shopping plastic bags. Apparently, the one they used for this one had like chicken grease in it, which I didn't realize until I gotten far from the library, and I reached in and it was gross. And I think that's what also turned me off into really looking at this book. And you could barely see it, much less smell it. It shouldn't have been a big deal, but I think it turned me off, and I never really got started, and I'm never going to get started. So bonsoir, or how do you say goodbye in French? Bye. I'm forgetting my French. Excuse my French. So on the same vein, It's like, okay, so that's trendy, this is cool, so let's do Japanese women don't get old or fat. So you don't just get fat, but you don't age either. Which, I mean, you know what? Into a point that, there are, I've seen some things about the Japanese diet and lifestyle are fantastic, and yes. But, and I do quite like, I mean, look, I open right up to the page about tea. So, yeah, I know you could really read that, right? But, and it's hard for me to let go of anything that has anything to do with tea. But you know what? I have, and one day I will go into it a little more. I have so many books about tea from all cultures and backgrounds. So I don't need something that has a chapter about tea. And I'm really not going to make anything in here. I don't see myself making Japanese food. When I have a hankering for Japanese food, I will go out and get it because I live in New York. It's accessible. And I'm sure they'll do a better job of making it than I will. Anybody would probably do a better job of making Japanese food than I will. Just let's face it, Anyway, so this is not a bad thing. I hope someone else will benefit from this and love it. And, even though it was a whole trendy thing with this culture doesn't get old and this person doesn't get fat and this culture never gets tired or whatever it was, it's really not for me. I just keep finding it in the bottom of my bookshelf saying, why am I here? So I'm going to let them go free wherever I let them go. I still don't know. Anyway, let me know if you've ever encountered any of these books in your travels and what you think about them. If I could, I would do a giveaway for these if anyone wanted them, etc. But it's way too complicated, unless there's someone who I'm actually personally a friend of, like in person, and is watching this and wants one of these who lives nearby me, fine. But otherwise, I'm really going to find a way to get rid of them in a good, recyclable way. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I don't think it was that snarky. Because I can't bring myself to be too snarky about books. If it's not for me, it's not for me. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you guys who commented on my last post about my not feeling well. I am feeling better. I was a little bit, feeling blah earlier from something I ate because, it's me, but that's why I'm drinking the tea. And, yeah, I don't know if it was, like I was saying last time, I don't know, TMI, if it was kidney stones or not. I may never know. But I did drink all the water, and if anything, water's good for you. And so is herbal tea. It's lovely. And this has been Catherine from Taking Tea with Catherine, and have a lovely day. Goodbye.